I'm a bit early because I'm trying out the music. I don't know if it's too loud though. So I'll just lower it. I'm still 2 minutes early, but that's okay because people kind of know what time I'm on at these days. And how do I stop it completely? And okay, I'm back in my normal view. So they know what time I'm on these days. So they know what time to come in. And you know, I ramble a bit at the beginning anyway. But I am going to tell you what I'm going to be doing. And the title kind of says it, but it doesn't explain the whole thing. And I want to get my nice. So cutouts and illustration, right? So when I say cutouts, I've been making a little children's book called The Cosy Ant House. I'm still in the middle of it. And I have some illustrations for it done. These little items here, we'll talk about those in a minute. They're related to the book. But I'll show you some of the illustrations I've done. I was oil painting with this underneath the other day, and I want to make sure there's no oil paint. So the book is going to be a printed book, but I did the illustrations first in my sketchbook first. Hopefully I have the camera distance right here. I hit the sweet spot last Friday, and we had a very good resolution on the video, but I can't actually adjust my camera's focus on this phone when I'm in StreamYard. So I apologize, but I think I'm good at this distance here, as far as I know. It always looks fine on my screen, you see. But okay, so these are 2 pages near the beginning of my book, right? A little storybook that I'm illustrating. So I have maybe about a third of it done. And in fact, yesterday I posted up a video. I didn't post it on, the video is not on this channel, right? I have another channel called Scavop, which is SKAVOP, and the S is a capital letter. And the reason I posted the video on the other channel is, even though it has a couple of these photos of the book in it, and talk, you know, sort of tells you a little bit about the book, that video is mostly about ants. And it's not enough about art for me to feel that it was completely relevant to this channel. But it's up on the community tab there if you wanted to see it, because I kind of still felt, yeah, it's related, because it was talking about the inspiration for why I have become an ant keeper now. Very early days in my ant keeping, and I don't know how it's going to go, but I've become an ant keeper. So I'm going to sort of document that on that other channel, Scavop. And but that one video, it did have some art in it from this book as well. If you want to see it, it had this image as well. So it's presented kind of like a little story as well in its own right in that little video. It's like the videos I do for this channel. It's a very short video. I think it's under 3 minutes, or 3:01 or something like that. It is. So it shows you kind of where I'm up to. And you see this page here, this illustration here is probably going to be the cover. It's probably going to be on the cover. And I have to make a title for it. All the lettering and everything in this is going to be hand done. And I want the book to have a hand done look, even though it's going to be a printed item. It's actually one of those photo print books, but I'm kind of adapting it to what I want to do. And I'm putting in, instead of photos, I'm putting in my illustrations. But I wanted to keep the hand done look in a way. So I like that this is on cream, slightly cream colored paper, for example. And I like some of the bucketiness of the hand written stuff. So although it's going to be on a white silk printed paper, within that white silk print, there are going to be like 2-page spreads that are sort of a creamy color that look like they're from a more old fashioned looking book, if you see what I mean. So I want to play up the cutesy thing. And some of that is inspired by my childhood and books that I liked when I was a kid and everything, and thinking back on the books that I kept from when I was a kid and everything, and yellowed pages and all that. I love all that. But also the style of illustration that I really admired as a kid. And I was very into illustration as a kid because there were some terrific illustrations around. And still, still these days, people love illustrations for children's books, and it's an art form in itself. Um, so this is kind of illustration work, but design work as well, because it's a book and I have to think about the layout of it. So today, what I'm doing today is designing some pages of the book. And the pages that I'm designing today, I'm just giving you a few minutes to read these. They're not necessarily in order, but I'm sort of trying to work through the story in order, but they're not in order in my sketchbook. They will be in the book. But the book is going to have some pages that are making a little cozy ant house. So you're making a model of this, or the kid is making a model of this, or getting help from a parent, but hopefully it would be something they could do on their own. I've sort of pitched it at kids from sort of, uh, I suppose like 5 or 6 up to kind of, I don't know, 13, 14 maybe. And then adults like me who love kids' books. But it would be something that the cutout section of it would be either their little kid and adult is going to help them, or if they're a bigger kid, they're going to be able to cut things out themselves. But that section is going to be sort of, I think it's great because, like, manually cutting something out and putting it together, there's a great satisfaction for kids in making things themselves. And, I love making things too. I've just ordered a thing online I'm very excited about, and it is a little multi tool which does engraving things, but I think it does sanding things and drilling as well. So um, I'm going to be doing things with my little ant houses for that. They're not this. This is an ant house in the story, but the ants don't actually in reality live in there. They live under there in reality. So it was inspired by real ants. So no wonder I wanted to go on about the ants on the other channel, because I'm so enthusiastic about them that I was raging when I saw the nuptial flight day, which was very spectacular, and I thought, oh, I can't put that in my channel because it's an art channel. And it didn't occur to me, well, I have another channel there where I put all my sort of lifestyle interests and craft interests and all this on anyway. So I should have filmed it. So I don't know, will I get another day like that before the end of summer? But so the I'm going to be using this little drill thing for building more little ant houses and things like that. So it is kind of, it's artsy craftsy stuff, but it's not exactly the sort of art that I do on this channel, because the sort of art I do on this channel is fine art and illustration mostly, isn't it? So I don't want to start confusing viewers going off in all sorts of different directions. But if you want to check out the other channel, go over to the community tab and start with that video. It's a good place to start. And if you think the ants thing sounds interesting, um, you can sub to it. And then whenever I make an ant video, I'll put ant in the name, and you'll know. So, yeah, I'm still ants obsessed because I still have to be obsessed to get this book done. Okay. And that's as far as I got in the book, 3 or 4 illustrations. I think I have another one back here somewhere. But you see, they're 2 page spreads. And I'm looking for something that I might be doing a version of that, but that won't read very well in the color. So if I did a version of that again, it'd have to be rethought and done again. It's a different illustration I'm looking for. I'm going to do 2 versions of this. There's a this monotone version, and then there's I'm probably going to do a color 2 page spread as well of the same thing as kind of a centerpiece in the book when you get to the center of the story about the ants. Um, this page will be all color, so this will turn up twice, once in black and white and another one in color. So on each of those 2 pages. So you're not long getting through 30 pages. But one of the things I want to do with the 30 pages that we're going to work on today is um, the cutouts. So the little house, how to make that little house into a cutout. That's what I have to figure out. So it's illustration and design. Right, I'm going to need to refer to the original drawing. And there is a real one of these houses as well. And you'll find it on this channel. The Cosy Ant House video has shots of the real ant house. I actually made a little ant house, and this is a drawing of it. And it's a drawing of some ants going to the ant house. But now we want to, towards the back of the book, have a would you like to make your own ant house section, right? And some of the things, it's going to be the ant house, and it's going to be some of the accessories for that ant house. So that's where these objects come in, because see, these are some of the real accessories for the ant house, right? So I made, with the help of, and I can't remember her channel name. Oh, I think it's mini arts or something like that is, but she does kind of dollhouse size um little tableau scenes that are just absolutely fantastic. And I'm watching a lot of stuff on her channel. I love it so much. I will put it in the comments afterwards for anybody who's interested. But I found out how to make these little um jam and honey jars from her, very simply with um, they're all painted up obviously, but with these glue guns and the sticks of glue you put into them. They're made from the sticks of glue just cut up and then painted and everything. And I made a little picnic table, which is the worse for wear already because it's been out in the weather. But these things are supposed to weather a little bit because there's a lot of natural materials involved in them, and you don't want it to get too plasticky. Now, I did have to put a sort of a plastic sheeting, kind of, I call it contact sheet, I think that's the brand name, over the piece of cloth. So that's not very, like, you know, environmentally friendly. And I guess the glue isn't either. But oh, look, I have a I have a little insect. Let's put him in my terrarium. I'm sorry, anytime you bring in anything from the garden. Come on, he's not gonna. Sorry about this, guys. There, now he's on the drawing board. We'll be able to tip him into my new terrarium. I can show you the terrarium. Because these guys live happily in terrariums. There are a couple of those guys in there at the moment. And in fact, I gave them a little bit of carrot and what else did I give them? A bit of apple today that's in there. But I have a little house in there. I don't want to tip it. You see, these are the sources of inspiration for the work. There's a little house back here, moss covered, and little set of steps going down. I didn't use too much glue in there, so it's not all glued down, but there's sets of steps going down, loads of moss and a little lake and everything. And then there's a little LED light shining down on it because you need light on these things. But these were the things that I started off my interest in doing the book from. So one thing leads to another in art. So everything in art is, it's a creative life, isn't it? So you're getting inspiration from all sorts of things. So we have soil falling off the ant accessories. So you see that little woodlouse there, he liked the wood in that. Oh, and ants love that kind of wood. Um, a pine tree, isn't it? It's got little legs on it and everything. So this is one of the things we'll be designing as a cutout today, a little table for the ants. So there's a house, there's a table, and other little things turn up that we want to cut out, like a ladder. So beside their little ant house, they have a ladder that goes up into the ivy. And then, we want, it's about illustration as well. So we want some items to turn up in the picture, like our little sweeping brush and everything. So all the items don't really have to be usable, but they have to be playable with in terms of being a cutout that a kid can put together themselves and that creates a little scene or a tableau, right? So it's great for, as I say, the motor skills and all that. A lot of kids don't kind of make and do things as much anymore. And the cutout stuff I'm doing is really old fashioned, the way of doing it, because these days you buy books for kids, a lot of them have stickers and they just peel off a sticker and then they stick it on something. But that's kind of the end of the playtime, really, I think, in a way. Um, it'd be nice if the whole playtime is the cutting out of things. And the way these would work would be that the paper as I say, it's a silk finish printed paper. I don't think it's even as thick as my sketchbook paper. Oh well, it might be about that weight, but they can choose to have a cardboard off a cereal box or something as backing for that if they want to glue it onto it. So there will also be instructions will have to go along with whatever items I have on the cutout pages, you get me? So we're not going to like do the pages perfectly today, but we are going to do a little bit of sketching towards trying to design them, and we might even get a little bit of cutting out with scissors done as well. So it's only 20 past, so I will have time for some of this. So the other thing about today is that we're testing some things that arrived. So I have some nice things arrived. I'm waiting on a lot of things at the moment. Some of them are for wood craft stuff, and some of them are art materials. But a few arrived today, and this was one of the things that arrived today. And I'm very pleased about that because I'll show you what that does. It is a liquid raw brush pen, and it's got a beautiful point on it, which is a brush point. And let me see, is it an actual brush? No, it's like a semi-soft kind of felt tip, brush pen style thing. But what I liked about this brand was first that it's India ink, which I love because India ink is indelible. And if you were to do a wash with watercolors or something on top of India ink, it's not going to run. And the second thing I liked was it can make the line very, very thin, or depending on the pressure you use, you can make a thicker line and you can vary the thickness of the line. So this is something that I'm going to use for our sketching today just to get used to it. It was a good price, and when I opened it up, I thought I'm not crazy about the balance in that because it feels too short. But then I realized that you put the top on here, and the balance is perfect. So that was a brand that was very inexpensive, and I thought worth trying. But also, I've used brush pens before, and I thought, well, this is going to be very nice um, for, the way I go out on field expeditions a lot of the time. And that's going to be very nice for out in the field sketching because if I can find it here, you've seen this yoke before, but I absolutely love it. This oblique pen. Um, this does kind of the same thing, but it's a dip pen. And a dip pen, using it out in the field is slightly awkward because you have to bring ink with you in a little pot and everything, and quite often you're standing around um, out in the field, and you want to be holding as few things as possible. And of course, I'm often filming as well for you guys, so I'd be kind of holding the camera in my left hand and trying to balance things in my right hand. So this, you don't have to worry about having any sort of liquid to balance. You do your drawing, and then if you want to do a wash over it with watercolors or something, you just put the top back off it and away you go. So I'll be using that today when we're drawing out our ideas, and I'll show you the other stuff that arrived today. This is, I actually ordered two by mistake, silly me, because they do the same thing. But what the heck? Uh, I suppose if I have two of them, I'm less likely to lose them. These are erasers, retractable erasers. Oh, I have to clean that little bit of glue. That's annoying. I get a bit of white spirits at that'll clean it. There's a label on there. This Mono Zero eraser is a Tombow brand, and they seem very popular with YouTubers are forever recommending them. But it's a very fine eraser, you see. And I have ordered powdered graphite and had been using graphite on a video recently where I went out in the field, and I had a couple of erasers. No, I had one eraser I think I was using that was falling apart. It was a kneadable eraser. So I got a new kneadable eraser as well. This is an ordinary eraser, but will be okay for using powdered graphite or for doing very thin erasing in drawings with ordinary pencils or graphite pencils or whatever you use. And then it retracts. It's also refillable if you click the thing in and hold it clicked in and pull that out. You can put your refill in that end of business, same way as you would with a mechanical pencil. So I have two of those. One I got bright orange. I just couldn't decide which one I wanted. I ended up getting both of them by mistake. When you're at the checkout in Amazon, if you don't take everything out of your basket, sometimes you put too many things in your basket and you think you're taking something off. So I have two of those now. The bright orange one will be the one I'll probably bring it to the field with me, really hard to lose in green grass. But I won't be able to use that yet because I'm waiting on that graphite pencil. I'll test it out with that. And the kneadable rubber, I just got a Faber-Castell because I've had those before and I love them. But it actually came in a little box and I love that. And you're saying, well, what's the point of a box full of rubber? But there is a point because these are you need them into the shape that you want and you can make them skinny and everything, but the little box keeps it kind of feeling a bit moist and malleable. um it's not that it keeps it clean or anything particularly, but it does do that. It keeps it soft if you haven't used it for ages. And My previous one I've actually lost it. I was looking for it the other day. Spent ages. It was very old, maybe over 15 years old. They don't wear out really. These things they're terribly cheap, but they don't wear out. And you can clean them and everything. I spent ages cleaning it, sitting there one night, um, kneading it and cleaning it off and washing it and all this. Then I lose the flipping thing. But I'd had it in plastic wrapping to try and keep it moist. Now I've lost it, so I got a new one of those. But I love the little case. And then the next thing that arrived, these all arrived today. No, they didn't all arrive today, did they? No, some of them arrived yesterday. This arrived today. I love this case on this. See, they're so handy, the cases. For storage is very important if you are working with a lot of different media, but also storing things away all together. And I'll use this as storage for these. I'll just keep them all in this. But also you could use them as pencil cases and things for going out on field trips. You see, you're going to want different kinds of materials with you for different field trips, so they're handy for that. But these will stay in that case because this is let me just take them out of the racky bit. This is a lifetime supply of blending stubs, these are called, and they're paper things, and um, you use them to blend your charcoal or graphite or pencil, and they're very handy when you're using something really messy like charcoal or graphite. You saw how messy the graphite got with me, quite difficult to work with. But this has them in all different sizes, which is kind of nice. And as I say, you can use a knife and pare them down, so that's a lifetime supply. But it also comes with a sharpener, which is just sandpaper, and you just tear that off, and you can use that for pencils as well. So they are a very handy item because they're flat, they go in a pencil case, and you pair the side of your pencil on them or your paper stub to get the dirty bit off it. And then when the little sheet of sandpaper is filthy dirty, you can then tear that off and go on to the next sheet. So that was a nice thing to get in with it. So, all of those were little items, but they're going to make a big difference to my materials because they were all things I needed. So I thought I'd show them to you. Show you materials for me. So this is the thing we're going to test out today. And what we're looking at is I have two sketchbooks going because what I'm looking at is getting try not to get these dirty now, although I have them scanned in because some of them I'm going to be working again on the picture, like the black and white 2-page spread. But that has to be coloured and everything. So I want to get that as a model, right? And what I want for the model, and I'll just sketch as I'm talking to you. The model, I should mention that the book is a 5.5, so 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches square. That's a very nice size actually for a kid's book because I remember the Beatrix Potter books in my local library. They had them in a square edition, and it's lovely. It's a lovely shape. I remember seeing them in the library and thinking they were beautiful shape, but I didn't really like the stories. I found them a little bit uninteresting. I loved the illustrations, but they were a bit too sweet for me. I like a few roguish animals in my stories. Although the ants in this are pretty sweet, but I guess they're not here. They're in this one they're kind of warlike in that one. They have little spears and shields, and they're coming in to get their queen ant back from me. So what is a cutout, right? So it's something flat on the page, but it's here's the house, right? And this is kind of, just thinking with my pen. So here's the look of the house, right? Just as an illustration, a log. Now, it's going to be a flat illustration, but it will have tabs at the side, okay? I don't necessarily say tab because I will have some instructions on at least the first page of the cutouts. But it'll tell you that the tabs are the bit that you glue together. Okay, so those, and I got this idea from seeing it cutout books. So what I need to do is figure out what this would look like flattened out, if you get me. So I know that it has, because I made the thing, I know about the exact shape of it, and it has a porch that shape, right? When it's folded back out, it's that shape. And that porch has a little lip on it, but we might be able to do that as a flat thing. I don't know. I don't want to have too many bits that you have to fold out, because if we were going to do that stepped shape there, we'd have to kind of have this coming down here somewhere, and then instructions to glue it across and put the tab in over here and things. I don't want to get into that. I want it to look pretty on the page. So all the time that I'm drawing this out, I'm thinking about the design of it. So this is not a finished page. This is working out how I'm going to do it, you see. So to do this, there's a couple of ways to go. And to do that, I could come up the side of the house, okay, then have a fold, go up the roof, have another fold down the roof and down the other side, you get me? So that would be, they're all going to be the same width. So that would possibly look something like this, okay? And then you're going to have tabs there for to go into something, okay? So down here, I'm visualizing that tab, which won't necessarily have tab written on it either, because I have to make this look pretty. I might have it written on the first one or something. Um, this bit, it has to all look like the picture that's on this. So typically, I'll be doing an illustration on this bit, okay? And there is actually a little bit that projects out the front here. That's kind of a log that has this light bulb hanging from it. But I have to decide, well, how much detail I'm going to have on it, what bits can I lose, what do I keep. So I know I'm going to keep a lot of the mossy illustration. I'm going to illustrate it in that style, you see, and how the cutout is going to be full color, okay? Because I can do full color for the whole book, but I think it looks very pretty in the book to have some pages color and some black and white, because kids are fantastic art critics and they'll really dig that. So this bit here, say, would be the fold for where you're going into the brown logs, right? And then obviously the bits you glue are going to be white. And I'll show you what I'm thinking in terms of what it's going to glue into. And so the roof is a log thing as well, right? But we're going to make it look kind of a slightly different texture from the logs down here, because you want that to look nice. And I haven't worked out the proportions in relation to the rest of the house bits that slot together yet, you see. So that all has to happen. So let's do some visuals on this. And I'm going to just savage the sketchbook, because, you can be too precious about things as well. This can all get glued back in after it doesn't work. So let me get our scissors out. And designing, we want to, oh, look at it, 2 pages. We want to experience what a childhood experience cutting this out, you see. So I'm going to skip that log bit probably. It might have a little bit of messing about with the moss. I don't know. I want to keep it fairly simple, I think. But I'll show you what I'm thinking with the tabs, and you'll see my thinking about the whole thing. You're in on a sort of brainstorming session here. But like this is a design process. So this is kind of an illustration and design live stream with me waffling on about various sort of things. So you see the way that's not exact either. I mean, even the size that, I have to figure out, is the size going to be okay on a square format? I can scale up or down because my stuff gets scanned, right? And then I can scale that up and down. But I have to make sure that when I scale it down to the size of the page for the book, which is a square format, that my page and the elements on the page, that I'm getting the best out of them and they look okay. So you can see how when I have it, I find the middle of the roof properly there. So there's actually a couple of, I want to do this to get the wall. And in fact, I am going to do something. This is a prototype we're working on. And I'm just going to color this it's not the right color to color it, but because we're not caring about, we know already what colors we want, we've worked all that out. So this is just to distinguish between walls and roof. So the pink bits there are going to be the side walls of the house, which are a very low thing. And the tabs, you want to have the tabs the same as well. So here is what we're left with, you see. We've got, oh, do I have that? Have it folded the wrong way. I get that folded better. See, once I didn't make the house as buckety sideways as this one. I just wanted to simplify it a bit for myself. So I thought I'd make it just with the triangle of it just meeting in the middle for the moment anyway. We're not going to get too clever on ourselves in case we mess it up. So in a way, like this is kind of I mean, I don't want to bang on about the educational part of it or anything, but like it's nice for kids to do this. Kids want to be cutting out things and everything. So once you get them signed up to the idea that they have to do a little bit of work themselves by giving them the instructions in a way that sounds fun, towards the end of the book, and they should be excited about it because they've read the book, you see. And then you go, now do you want to make your own little ant house? They're going to go, yeah, sounds fun. And then I say, well, okay, you just need a bit of glue, scissors, and if you want cardboard, you can glue it to cardboard before you cut it out, but you don't have to. So you see, that will hold up. Okay. Now the reason I did tabs down here was because I'm going to have this underneathy bit here. Okay. And the underneathy bit is if we mark each side. I might have the roof a bit too wide, but this is very loose. So there is what I'm thinking for. Sorry, you're bouncing around as usual. Here's what I'm thinking. If I can find a ruler. should really draw that as a rectangle, but I won't bother. And this is not going to be an exact science, this one. I'm going to make slots, you see, that goes into. And they won't necessarily have to be thick, but I probably draw a thick line for the slots, or I might do a, line like that, cut, So I might have, on the instructions, have a thing that says where you see a dotted line, cut, where you see tab, fold, where you see a tab, glue. And a lot of the understanding how to put the house together will come from the fact that it's been illustrated elsewhere in the book. So they've got a reference there for how it should look when it's finished, you see. I don't think I'll have to draw each stage of it, like, how it's come together. Now, I've lost my house already. Oh, there's it. So here's what I'm thinking, that the tabs for the sides get glued to something else. Now, I'm gluing them to a thing that would be suitable for this. So in theory, it could have this element here, and that's the porch, you see, and these elements just drawn, and do that like a lovely illustration, and then draw all the mosses and everything, Then if we come along out the back of the house, the back of it could back up against a wall. So, sorry, slipping because it's not glued. But, they'd have their bit of school glue out there. See, even without the cardboard, it would work. And that could back up against a wall that has the ivy on it. And that wall with the ivy on it could have a tab, a long tab, that gets glued to. The only thing I hate about this plan is that I'm not very good at drawing ivy. So I'll have to find a stylized way to do ivy that I like. I find the little veins in it kind of challenging. They never look right for me. But if I can do a stylized thing, fine. So there's the ivy wall, see? So let's say we had another bit here. This is where the fun in arty stuff comes in, doing all this kind of thing. There's something innately fun about having your scissors out and glue. And there's a lovely sort of glue. I don't have any of it in stock at the moment, but I think it's called school glue, and I can't remember what brand it is. But it comes in a lovely shape packet. That's a little cone-shaped or beehive-shaped see-through thing, and on the top it has a rubber sort of a nozzle with a slit in it, and you just go along your tab, and it's so much fun to glue with. It's nice working with nice materials that you like. Now you see that tab is too long for that. And the proportions will have to be fiddled around a lot with these things, but I want to see the basic layout of what will work for me, and then figure out, can I make it look attractive? So that doesn't have to be one long tab. It could be a couple of tabs, but I'm just showing you how I'm thinking. And anybody that likes anything collagey would enjoy doing this kind of stuff. I mean, it's at the crossover between arts and crafts, really, isn't it? So, this obviously that would have to go against a wall of some sort. So, um, but if it's backed up with card, right, the card could be attached to that and that, um, the bottom panel and the back as one sheet. So that could be reflected in the instructions for the kids, you see. You know, say if you wanted to stand up on its own, make a cardboard panel this shape and glue these elements to it, you know. Oh, they're going to have to be simple instructions. So you see, that's really replicating the look of it outside, because their little house is against ivy and the house, and then they've got the ground, right? So that's all an illustration. Now we're able to design the front of the house and the inside of the house. And I want the house to open up and you to be able to see the inside of it. So obviously, in the inside of the house, if I make the inside of the house a separate piece, and so far it's working okay. I haven't even gotten to the table and the ladder, but I'll show you the plan for the ladder in a minute. How are we doing time-wise? Yeah, 2:47. You see, time flies when you're having fun. So for the inside of the house, then we know the width. If we were using this idea, that's that's not a set width for us. This is a prototype, and prototypes are just a first version of something. Yeah. So the inside of the house is that width according to this, and the height, we want to have the height of the inside walls of the house the same. But we can do the same, we could do the same thing. We could have a little roof in there, or we can just have uh, this part of the house, if you see what I mean. Hang on. We might only care about how the back wall of the house looks. You know, you can have a little fire and things on the fire and everything. So you can go wild with what you want to have in the house, but there should be a fireplace, an ant fireplace, I feel. And, a couple of pictures on the wall, maybe. Gardens, of course. And some shelving, you see, with stocks on it. And there could be wallpaper inside, or you know whatever. I haven't got a vision for this yet, but you see, that's back wall is going to be important, because when they open up the front of the house, that's the first thing they're going to see. And the side walls as well, we want to have something happening along the side walls. And then we have to think about, well, are we going to get fiddly and have furniture in there or not? We could kind of make one piece of furniture. We could make a little, I don't know, a little couch or something for them, or a little chair or something. It does look like it needs something in there, doesn't it? So that would be like some sort of a small piece that you make. But as for the roof, well, you could do something with the roof. Then you would be looking at doing a thing for the inside here. and you stick one to the other, so you have two stuck together that are exactly the same. But actually, I don't think the roof matters at all. I think I would just make it that you just have the back and the sides of that. So we already have a roof. We don't have a front. So I think the front might come out of the side or stick to the side in some way. So it would be stronger if it came out of the front, but I don't think, I think it's going to be a big enough piece. I think it's going to be a big enough piece that we're not going to be able to do it as a continuous thing. I think we'll have to do it in two lots. So we would be looking at having tabs again on something here. So let's see. I think that what would be nice is if on that original drawing we incorporated tabs in. We could do it there, but we could have double tabs and get them to go together. They have to glue together, but so if I had a tab on that bit, you're able to glue your front thing to that. That's what we'll do. So I think at the end of the day, what we're left with is tabs that go along there. And this is where I get another thing glued out. See, there's no point in illustrating a thing all looking very pretty and everything if you don't have the design element worked out. So that's the tab that goes, that glues it to the ground or goes into the slot underneath, or whatever way you're doing it. And this is just to give me an idea of what I'm at here. Obviously, I'm having to glue this onto it because it's an afterthought, this is not a tab that kids would be gluing on. It just it comes with it. So that would be the tab that the front part attaches to. And then another tab here. And we'll do the same on the other side, you see. Oh no, we're not going to glue that. No, we only need one tab. See, my challenge with the front is that here's the way. That's the ivy on the back. Ooh, doesn't that write nicely? And there's the ground under house. So the tab for the front is this again. So I know how I want the inside to look. So I want the tab for the front to look the same. And actually, when I get a bit more designery with this, there might be some tracing paper involved, but I'm not going to be overly careful here. Let's say do I want two tabs, or I think I need a tab there as well. And the reason I'm doing that shape there is just because that's an element that, so say this is the front of the house, okay? And we're going to draw all the nice shading and everything in it. Some people be looking at this horrified, saying, "Oh, you're wrecking your sketch pad." I think sometimes the meaner you are to your sketch pad, the more to reward you with nice loose drawings. And you know the struggle I have with staying loose with things sometimes. So it's all good. Okay, so we'll say that's the front of the house. So my idea with the front of the house is if I can find the bit that I've lost again, because I haven't glued any of this down. I just want to be able to take it apart and rethink it at any moment. I don't even know if I have the size. But I want to show you how I'm thinking for the prototype, you know. So what I'm thinking for the front of the house is that tab, and like this is the back is going to support that and everything, and none of this is glued yet, that tab just attaches to the other tab, and that the house, this is a fold that you can open the front of the house to look on the inside like that. So that'll work. You know, don't have the proportions exact, but that'll work. So you see the way if I had an inside of the house like this, I have that slightly done in perspective, which I shouldn't have. But say they're the walls and the back. That piece of paper gets glued to the back of your house, which is the wall, really. I don't think we even have to make an outside back wall for the house because the back with the ivy is going to hold it. So that means there's going to be, I think there's going to be tabs on here as well going into the ivy. That would be the sensible way to do it, wouldn't it? So some of this is figuring out where to put my tabs. So you see when we're looking into the house that we've got that, and then we've got this glued to the front, and you can hold it in place by just slipping that bit in a latch. We could make that look like a little lock, you see, to make it even more obvious. And then when you look in, you see that. You know, we can have the door just open if we want, or we can do a door on it. I think my one outside was open, so I might like it open. If you want to see what the ant house looks like, the real ant house, go to the Cozy Ant House video and you can see it, or go to the video that I posted on the community tab, which leads you to my other channel, but you will get some ants in that video, and if you're not terribly interested in the ants as well. So I think that'd be fun and not overly complicated to try and get onto pages, you know. The other elements would include things like, I'll do it here, have the ground. I'm going to keep all these pieces of paper in a little, I'll make a little folder for them because they're my prototypes and they're terribly important. So the other thing I'm going to make is the ladder. So for the ladder, right? So say I've made a little ladder and it's going to be like a cute little ladder like that. I'm making it a little bit big maybe, but so that one is going to have a tab on the top there and a tab tabs on the bottom as well. So at some point along that ivy, you see, in the real house, there are slots that they go into. And to get it in the right place, I just have to figure out at what angle I want that to stand, you see. So if I want it at that angle, the little slots for that are going to be, oh my God, I have another reason. What is this guy? Oh, it's another isopod. I don't believe. Is it? Sorry, folks. You can't just leave insects running around. They don't like getting on the metal. Don't like getting on me. Will you get on the paper? They like paper. Get on the paper. What the hell are you? No, 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 no. He's falling again. What is he? He's another isopod. I'm going to put him in the terrarium. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry if anybody doesn't like insects. It's because I took these in from the garden, you see. And it's all buzzing with life because I have natural materials in it. You see, the wood. I have the same problem when I get flowers in the garden. So anyway, he has a new home now. Another little house. Okay, so so I know that for the front, that the slots are going to have to be out at that angle if I want a little paper ladder that creates the illusion from the front, at least, that it's leaning against the wall. So that's cute. And you can do the same if I wanted to have the little cutout brush, which you use for brushing away isopods. Have I got another one? I saw something else moving. This is the problem when you see an insect, you think you see a move. No, I think we're okay now. I think we're safe now. The little brush, I might just incorporate that into the outside of the house or something, into this. I might just have it leaning against the outside wall of the house. But the picnic table, and I'm just past the time. The picnic table, that's the next item I want to work out as a cutout, because the picnic table is going to go a bit further down. And obviously, this is going to be a longer sort of an affair here, isn't it? If I want to fit in the picnic table. Well, we could have a picnic table that fits on the inside of the house. That would be a good idea. We make a picnic table and a chair and just have them inside the house rather than outside. That would make sense. Because I still have to respect the shape of the book. So if it's a square, I'm not going to fit all of these in one page, you see. So I have a few pages to play around with, to organize those cutout things and have the instructions and everything laid out in an attractive way. So, but still to do, if I did outside in the garden, that ant setup is a long kind of a shape, because I made a little ant road and various other things happening, and I had the picnic table kind of down the end of the road. So now we might move their picnic table into the house, you see. And but that's easy enough to do. So far, I think I've got quite a lot of work done today. Whether you're able to follow any of it, I don't know, but it was definitely designy and creative. So yeah, if you like the whole ant vibe and you want to follow what's going on with the ants, or what's going on with other kind of like occasional videos and lifestyle things that I do, probably wouldn't post as often. Um, Probably wouldn't post as often on them. I've got a springtail here now. You're going in, my friend. The amount of things that came off that piece of wood. Note to self: don't bring in things from the ant house. But that's good though, because it means they like all the materials I chose, apart from the little bit of plastic and everything I had in that. But they're not gonna start chewing that or anything. And if you're tempted to do anything like that for, any little creatures in your garden, like once you use kind of wood glue, some things I used a bit of super glue on, but if you use anything with vapors in it or anything, give it a good while to dry out so that you don't poison any insects. Basically, they don't mind wood glue. Um, yeah, so that's it. It's all fun, and I will keep you updated on the book. So as I say, don't feel you have to subscribe to the other channel. It's only if you're interested in activities that aren't necessarily art. But don't worry, I'll still be posting all the art stuff over here. So you won't miss out on anything if you don't go over to that other channel at all, you know. It's not really arty enough, I don't feel, for this channel. Some of the content over there, some of it is craft stuff. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the book, and there's a lot of work in it, but it's, as you can see, it's fun work, and I think I'm gonna really like my new pen. And I have a big load of materials arriving next week. So when all that graphite stuff arrives, we'll be doing experiments with that. But although they give me estimates on these things, I haven't got an exact date that I'm definitely sure they arrive, because things don't always arrive the date they say they're going to arrive. But I will do something with them and show you how those materials work, because they were new materials for me as well. So that's it. I hope you got something interesting out of that. It was definitely a bit different, wasn't it? Okay, bye bye. Have a lovely weekend, whatever you're doing.